Welcome to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast, your weekly news roundup of hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation stories from around the Gem State. Hosted by Fish and Game's Public Information Specialist, Connor J. Lease.
And welcome back to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast. I apologize, I'm going to sound a little stuffy today. Caught a cold or something after Thanksgiving, so going to push on through. This week we're talking about a bighorn sheep shot and left to waste near Riggins, some interesting finds from a North Idaho check station lately, and an opportunity for members of the public to weigh in and comment on Idaho Fish and Game's new draft strategic plan. But first, kicking off the week with yet another collaborative conservation project, this time with an emphasis on the Upper Snake region's Teton Canyon elk and deer herds. Idaho Fish and Game, in cooperation with the Bureau of Reclamation and multiple private landowners, is implementing a seasonal motorized travel restrictions on all Bureau of Reclamation properties in the Teton Canyon complex beginning December 1st all the way through April 15th. These efforts are part of a holistic long-term plan to maintain a healthy wintering deer and elk herd in the Teton Canyon area. The Teton Canyon is a vital winter range that currently supports an estimated 700 wintering elk and roughly 2,400 mule deer. These animals rely on the canyon for the food, cover, and security that they cannot find outside the canyon during the winter months. A question that we hear a lot is, why is a seasonal motorized closure needed? Well, the seasonal closure of BOR lands within the Teton Canyon complex was created to reduce motorized disturbances from ATVs, UTVs, and snowmobiles, which have repeatedly displaced wintering deer and elk from the canyon. When pushed from the security of the canyon, elk often move toward Sugar City, Newdale, Teton, and other agricultural areas, resulting in damage to haystacks, cattle feedlots, and ornamental trees, and also increasing the risk of wildlife vehicle collisions along Highway 20. Many private landowners in the area also limit snowmobile use on roughly 17,000 acres of private land, significantly expanding the winter security zone for wildlife. Earlier this year, Fish and Game staff and more than a dozen volunteers planted over 45,000 shrubs throughout the canyon to build long-term forage and cover. Additional plantings, cover crop work, and restoration projects are planned over the next several years to continue strengthening the canyon's winter range capacity. Our staff have also provided supplemental feed to a portion of the Teton Canyon elk herd since the winter of 2018 and 19, when elk first began to leave the canyon during the winter months. It became necessary to lure elk away from highways and local cattle operations. Given the proximity to CWD-positive elk in Wyoming, it has become increasingly important to begin eliminating this winter feeding program and reduce situations that unnaturally concentrate animals, which can increase disease transmission. Moral of the story here, folks, is the future of the herd depends on the success of these actions. Elk and mule deer are vital to eastern Idaho, culturally, economically, and recreationally. But the Teton Canyon complex is the only viable winter range for this herd. If disturbance pushes animals out of the canyon, the risks of agricultural conflict, highway collisions, feedlot incursion, and disease transmission rise sharply. Here's Upper Snake Regional Communications Manager James Brower.
Reducing motorized travel and disturbance in and around the canyon will be essential to maintaining a population in the area. With the spread of CWD in nearby Wyoming, it's increasingly important that we move away from feeding elk in the Teton Canyon and instead focus on improving natural winter range.
A huge thanks to the Bureau of Reclamation, our private landowners, and local partners for their support in implementing these essential winter closures. Now, if you need some more information on the Teton Canyon winter travel restrictions or Fish and Game's winter range management efforts, contact the Upper Snake Regional Office at 208-525-7290. All right, here's an opportunity to comment on our draft strategic plan. Fish and Game is seeking comments on a draft update to its strategic plan, which was last updated in 2015. But what the heck does a strategic plan even do? The strategic plan serves as the roadmap to chart the goals, strategies, objectives, and actions our department uses to achieve the Fish and Game mission. Much has changed in Idaho since 2015, as you probably all know, so it's important for those who value wildlife to provide input on the draft plan to ensure Fish and Game is taking the right steps to fulfill its mission in the years to come. Earlier this year, our staff conducted an extensive public and internal outreach process to gather input on what steps the department should take to achieve its mission to preserve, protect, perpetuate, and manage Idaho's treasured wildlife resources. After receiving public input, the draft plan was created by 8 staff working groups from across the organization and reviewed by the Fish and Game Commission. Those wishing to provide feedback on the draft plan can provide their input online by visiting the strategic plan webpage. The deadline for commenting is December 19th at midnight Mountain Time. After the public comment period, Fish and Game staff will compile all public input and present it to the Commission for review at their January 2026 meeting. The plan is expected to be approved by the Commission in early 2026. So if you're someone who wants to help shape the directions that we go, then hit the link below and leave some feedback on the plan. Next up, an unfortunate case coming out of Riggins. On November 14th, a poached Bighorn sheep ram was located by a sportsman above Big Salmon Road near Partridge Creek. The ram had been shot sometime between November 20th and the 22nd, with no attempt to recover the animal. No season exists nor is open for bighorn sheep in this portion of Unit 14. This is not a case of mistaken species because the sheep was clearly shot in the head. Numerous sportsmen and the public frequent this area, and it is hoped that someone noticed the perpetrators. And as you can expect, this incident has angered many citizens in the area. The Idaho Wild Sheep Foundation pledged to enhance the Citizens Against Poaching reward by $2,000 for information leading to the arrest of those responsible. Quote, "We appreciate the efforts of Idaho Fish and Game conservation officers to protect wild sheep in Idaho." Those words came from Idaho Wild Sheep Foundation Conservation Committee Chair Bill London. Quote, "Wild sheep are important to Idaho. They are truly one of the gems of the gem state." End quote. Anyone who has information about this poaching incident or others is encouraged to call the Citizens Against Poaching hotline at 1-800-632-5999 or Fish and Game's Clearwater Regional Office at 208-799-5010. Anyone providing information can remain anonymous. All right, now last story for this week. A recent check station up in the Panhandle region turned up some troubling information. Here's what staff on the scene discovered. Staff from Idaho Fish and Game's Panhandle Regional Office operated a check station on November 16th along Interstate 90 near 4th of July Pass. The purpose of the station was to monitor hunter compliance with Idaho's wildlife laws and to evaluate whether big game harvested out of state or from an Idaho chronic wasting disease management zone was being transported in accordance with CWD regulations. Like many other states, Idaho prohibits transporting or importing the spine or brain tissue of deer, elk, and moose harvested in states where CWD has been detected. Nearly all of Idaho's neighboring states and most states nationwide are currently CWD positive. While the recent check station represents only a brief snapshot in time, Fish and Game staff observed that compliance with CWD-related transport rules was very low. Chronic wasting disease is a fatal neurological disease that poses a significant risk to Idaho's big game herds, and following transport rules is one of the most effective ways hunters can help slow its spread. Hunters who pursue big game outside of Idaho and plan to bring any parts into or through the state are encouraged to review Idaho's legal transport requirements by visiting the CWD webpage on our website. Hunters who pursue big game within Idaho's CWD management zones should also take time to understand the zone's specific rules and requirements before heading into the field. Idaho law authorizes Fish and Game to operate check stations to enforce wildlife regulations and collect biological data that supports wildlife management. All hunters, anglers, and trappers with or without game are required to stop when encountering an official Fish and Game check station. For more information, news, and updates, visit the Panhandle Regional Facebook page or contact the Panhandle Regional Office at 208-769-1414, or you can hit the link in the show notes to read TJ Ross's press release. That is it for major stories this week. Let's hit the rapid fire bulletin. Happening right now as we speak, the MK Nature Center is hosting its 19th annual bird seed sale fundraiser today and tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come and buy food for your favorite backyard birds and help fund educational programs and day-to-day operations at this Nature Center. Family-friendly activities will also take place on Saturday, December 6th, with live bird presentations with our favorite peregrine falcon, Wilson, and a take-home kids craft. The MK Nature Center gift shop will have many nature-themed holiday items for purchase. Come check out these items for the nature lover on your holiday gift list. Beginning in early December, Fish and Game staff will take to the air to get a closer look at deer numbers, including several low-level helicopter surveys planned in the Salmon and Chalice areas. The purpose is to gather abundance and herd composition information that helps game managers understand population numbers and trends. The flights will be completed in Big Game Management Units 21, 21A, 29, 37, and 37A, and are expected to take a week if the weather permits. If you're an angler participating in the Angler Science program on Lake Pend Oreille, thank you so much for investing your time and your effort into helping our folks at Fish and Game manage the lake's world-class rainbow trout fishery. The logbook submission period has ended, so be sure to turn in your completed logbook by December 12th to receive your free raffle entry and a chance to win some really cool prizes. Logbooks can be mailed or dropped off at the Fish and Game Panhandle Regional Office. Speaking of the Panhandle region, beginning in December, the Farragut Shooting Range Center will adopt updated days and hours of operation. The adjustments reflect recent patterns in public use and are intended to help Fish and Game make the best use of staff and financial resources required to operate the facility. The range will be closed December 8th, 2025 through January 9th of 2026 for a scheduled holiday break. The facility will reopen January 10th under its regular winter schedule. That's all the news we have for this week, folks. Thanks for putting an ear to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin. If there's something on your mind, or if you got a question related to Fish and Game matters, feel free to drop us a line at podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Again, that's podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Normally I say we'll catch you next week, but I will be traveling again for work up to the Panhandle region next week, so enjoy the week off. We'll catch you again the following week. Over and out.